이 위대한 구원. 크로스포인트 주니어 처치에서 전해드리는 이 시간, 담당의 Darin Pantley 형제입니다.
Hello, this is Darin Pantley from Crosspoint Bible Church. If you read through the history of Israel, you'll notice a strong recurring pattern. God provides for his people, protects them, which is helpful because they're surrounded by enemies on all sides. Meanwhile, the nations around them follow other gods and do all kinds of evil things. Then the people of Israel lose focus, they disregard God's instructions, they mingle with neighboring kingdoms and learn about their beliefs, and then they mix their beliefs with their neighbors. Instead of putting their trust in the Lord their God, they start to trust the religious rituals of their neighbors. Eventually, God has to send someone to wake them up, to remind them that every step they take away from God is also a step away from his protection, his guidance, his direction. In the Bible, in 1 Kings chapter 17, we meet such a person. It says, "Now Elijah, the Tishbite from Tishbe in Gilead, said to Ahab," that's the king of Israel, "As the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, whom I serve, there will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years, except at my word." So he's punishing them with a drought. And it goes on to say, "Then the word of the Lord came to Elijah, 'Leave here, turn eastward, and hide in the Kerith ravine, east of the Jordan. You will drink from the brook, and I have directed the ravens to supply you with food there.' So he did what the Lord had told him. He went to the Kerith ravine, east of the Jordan, and stayed there. Then the ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat in the evening. And he drank from the brook." Elijah sounds like a person you don't want to mess with. His God is working directly through him. If you keep reading about Elijah, you'll learn about the time he gave a widow a miraculous supply of food and raised her son from the dead, or the time he met with Ahab, king of Israel, and used miracles to show the power of God. The story ends with Elijah praying for rain, and after praying 7 times, it says, "The sky grew black with clouds, the wind rose, a heavy rain started falling." In the next book, 2 Kings, it says Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind. A prophet named Malachi later tells the people of Israel that God will return to spare the faithful and burn up every evildoer. But it is written, "See, I will send the prophet Elijah to you before that great and dreadful day of the Lord comes." As Christians, we know that this prophecy was referring to John the Baptist. Matthew wrote, "And if you are willing to accept it, he is the Elijah who was to come." Matthew wrote, "And if you are willing to accept it, he is the Elijah who was to come." Luke wrote, "He will bring back many of the people of Israel to the Lord their God, and he will go on before the Lord in the spirit and power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the parents to their children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the righteous, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord." And Jesus himself said, "But I tell you, Elijah has already come, and they did not recognize him, but have done to him everything they wished. In the same way, the Son of Man is going to suffer at their hands." Then the disciples understood that he was talking to them about John the Baptist. What can we learn from all of this? God has the ability to work miracles through his faithful followers. If he needs to stop the rain to get your attention, he will. And God's plan is being rolled out across history, across different people in different places and times. But it's also worth noting the return of Elijah didn't happen how people expected. Luke wrote, "He will go on before the Lord in the spirit and power of Elijah." Elijah and John served the same purpose, to turn people toward God. They relied on the same power, the same God. It's a good reminder that God's words of warning are always true, whether we understand them yet or not. His plan is still in motion, and he's not done yet. We can count on it.
지금까지 크로스포인트 주니어 처치에서 전해드렸습니다. 언어와 문화의 장벽을 없애고 실시간 동시 통역이 제공되는 크로스포인트 주니어 처치의 주일 예배 시간은 오전 11시이며 교회에 대한 안내는 847-212-6775로 문의해 주시길 바랍니다.